In Atlanta, this young man that grew up outside of Philadelphia went up to school in Boston and now will be headed to learn how to speak with a slight southern drawl.
I think, Boone, for Arthur Blank, turn the page. It's a new era now of Atlanta Falcon football with Matt Ryan at the helm. You're talking about a kid who carried a football team that did not have great receivers, a great offensive line, or great running backs. Matt Ryan, you talk about his size, 6'4" and 3/4, about 220.
With the 6th pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Julio Jones, wide receiver, Alabama.
So Julio Jones coming to the stage. This breaks the hearts of some Rams fans that hope that he possibly could drop to them down all the way to 14. It also leaves Blaine Gabbert up for grabs for the 49ers, who are now on the clock, as we all create some headspace for those developments. Tell me about Julio Jones, Mike.
Ivy White, Tony Gonzalez, Matt Ryan is ecstatic right now. What a trade they pulled off.
Michael Turner, Julio Jones, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez, Matt Ryan. That's not a bad nucleus to move forward. We're going to take a break. When we come back.
With the first pick of the 5th round, number 137 overall, the Atlanta Falcons select Grady Jarrett, the defensive tackle from Clemson. Rise up, rise up!
All right, there you have it, Grady Jarrett, as we discussed trading scheme, but when he does it, he is dynamic. He is short, but plays with great leverage, plays with great balance, and look at him chase from that nose position. He will not give a center a break at all. Now, physically, you can.
What's good? How y'all doing this evening? Welcome back to Draft Prospects here on Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. It's your boy, the greatest Dunn that ever lived, the Dunn. I'm here with my co-host, King. What's good, man?
What's good, y'all? It feels so good to be back, brother. It feels so good to be back. And we talking Falcons, talking Hawks. Yeah, it's going to be good. Hawks tonight, of course, with the post game. But today we talking Falcons and Kyle Pitts. So that's going to be good. How you been, Don?
Man, I've been great, man. Can't complain. I got a new nickname, by the way. So,
what do you mean?
A name that shall not be mentioned. That's my new nickname.
Okay, I like it.
I like that name too. I love it. I love it.
You mentioned, I like it.
All right, we here with FILA recurring cast member Tyrone. What's good, man?
What's going on? How y'all doing tonight?
Hey, man, we great, man. We great, man. Appreciate you joining in, man. I know you want to come in and talk some draft talk, so let's do it. And then I got he shows up a couple of days out of the year. Mr. Florida Gator, Nick, what's good, man?
The team that shall not be named, the Florida Gators. Yeah, whenever we talk Florida Gators, I tend to show up, don't I? Yeah,
yes.
Hey, man, looking forward to be back. Just looking forward to the draft. Definitely a busy month coming up ahead of us, but man, the draft talks really starting to heat up. We got a big trade last week, moving around the Falcons. The Atlanta fans see teams jumping up and down in front of them, but should be some interesting stuff over the next month here as things parse out.
Yes, man. Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Everybody who watching live, appreciate y'all joining live. Hey, If y'all already know what to do. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with Atlanta Sports Fanatics. Hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. All right, before we get into it, we'll go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor, Amazon Music.
Shout out to Amazon Music for sponsoring FILA. Yo, you need your music, go here. It's free for the first month. Then you got to pay your $10. Well, your $9.99 a month plus taxes is going to be $10 and some change. Go here, get all your music needs. They got J. Cole, of course. They got Jay-Z. They got anything you want to hear on Amazon.
They got Young Dro.
Whoever that is.
They got Kevin Gates. They got all that.
I know who Kevin Gates is.
I literally was just using it, y'all. I literally just got out the shower and I was using it. I took advantage of it. Please do. It really is nice. They got everything. Like everything you can think of. I'm talking about back in the day up to now. So listen, use it.
A lot of J. Cole is what he just said.
All right, yeah, go ahead, y'all sign up for the Amazon Music. Use that, use the link that's right here, getamazonmusic.com/FILA Sports Podcast. When you do that, you get your first month free, and then after that, $9.99 a month. So take advantage of that. All right, so let's go ahead and get into Kyle Pitts. Take it away, King.
All right, so Kyle Pitts, man. Everything about Kyle Pitts, from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet, is great, man. He can run, he can jump, he can make all the catches, he can run almost every route on the route tree. He's a big red zone weapon. He's also has probably the best hands. Don't quote me when I say this. In my opinion, the best hands in the draft when it comes to catching the ball. He's just that good. The only weakness for this man is he's not a true blocking tight end. So when you need him to block in the run, it's not going to happen for you that well. I think that's just the will to want to block. You know how when linemen and tight ends say, "Oh, I love to block." I don't think he loves to block. I just think he does it because he has to. But he's also not a guy that you can just put at receiver either. So he's not that needs to be a solo receiver, because he's built for a tight end position, and he still kind of moves as a tight end. If you watch his film, he moves it like a tight end. 6'6", 240, 4.4 on that 40-yard dash. He just, which was shocking to me. I thought he was going to be like a 4.5 guy, 4.6 guy, but that 4.4 I think is what really helped boost his stock when it comes to Kyle Pitts. But like I said, has everything you need in a receiver, but is not a wide receiver and could work on his blocking as a tight end.
All right. So what's your thoughts, Nick, on Kyle Pitts?
Well, that's an excellent scouting report right there. Pretty much nailed it across the board. But the guy is, you know how you get some guys in the draft where, you know, the measurables are there. And like you said, 4.4 for 40 this week at his pro day. But he had a wingspan, longest wingspan in the draft. Longer than DK Metcalf, like in the history, like the last 20 years or something like that. I mean, the guy is an absolute freak of nature with his size, just shy of 6'6". He measured in 245 pounds, running with that kind of speed. He really does run like a receiver, but his blocking did improve this year. That was something that was key to his game. He's actually, I believe, tonight being awarded the Mackey Award for the best tight end in the nation. And it's really because last year there was a lot of talk about, you know how you have those things that with your favorite team where the announcers mention the same tidbit every game and they think they're telling you something new, but you hear every other game they say it. Like they basically said by the end of the year, you're like, okay, I got it. Like, but with the info on Pitts this year was, well, last year people didn't really know to classify him as a tight end entirely because he's such like he can kind of do both with receiver and tight end. And Pitts really took that to heart and worked on his blocking all offseason. But he really did commit himself to become a better blocker. Fortunately, Florida has a very creative offensive mind at the helm in Dan Mullen, where he was used properly as really a hybrid type of guy. So he could get down, put his hand down, but he can also just create nightmare mismatches. And you want to talk about a red zone threat? I mean, this guy's like a dream type of player to have on your team in the red zone. I mean, every single game he played in, he had an impact. The fewest catches he had in any game he played in this year was, of course, the Georgia game. But even then, 2 catches for 59 yards and a touchdown. He had that great touchdown catch. I believe it was right before halftime, before he took a brutal hit over the middle. But I think it was it Lewis Seen hit him? That was a big shot over the middle that ultimately knocked him out for a couple of games. They sat him for the LSU game because I think they thought that was going to be a cakewalk rollover, and he was even saying that he could play for that one. But I think they wanted to get him ready for Alabama. That ultimately ended up being a mistake. But the offense was still clicking that night, but just the team didn't show up overall, so probably could have used Pitts that night. But Pitts was just a consistent week-to-week weapon. This is not a guy who just has nice measurables. He also has got the stats to back it up. And I think, to me, that's like borderline. I mean, you don't want to say can't miss because anyone could blow out a knee or something, but borderline can't miss prospect right here.
All right. Tyrone, what you think, man?
Being a Georgia fan, watching him what he did versus Georgia versus Florida. Yeah, and my mom's a Gator fan, so I kind of sort of keep up with Florida too. So watching Pitts play, he's dominant. Like you can't guard him. There's not a lot of guys that can guard him because he jumps so tall. He's hard. He's 6'6", y'all. He's tall. He can jump. You throw an up ball to him. My best comparison was maybe, and this is not a good comparison, but Kyle Rudolph. Remember when he played the Saints? We did that jump ball. That's the stuff you can do with Kyle Pitts because he's so big and tall. You can't have a corner guard him because if you have a corner guard him, he's gonna jump over him unless you got like a 6'4" corner. So I mean, he's just a dominant guy and he's fast. You're gonna put him, you're gonna stretch him out wide. You can put him at maybe a wing tight, not a wing tight end, but maybe inside guy. You're not gonna put him outside. You can put him on the inside. You can have him stand up. You can put him down. He's crazy. He's just an athlete, really and truly. He's just a good athlete.
This is what I thought of Kyle Pitts. All right, don't laugh, y'all. All right, don't laugh. Yeah. Think of this. Think of Megatron and Shannon Sharp had a baby together. No homo. Gotta be Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Hey, I just read Matt Waldman releases the rookie scouting portfolio today. If y'all haven't read that, check that out. It's really good. It's super detailed. It's like over 1,000 pages. He does an incredible job. But I was reading his comparisons to the pro. One of the guys he mentioned, he's like, let's not get crazy to say Calvin Johnson just yet, but he's like, it's that type of player. Like he's that that type of. So he threw Calvin Johnson out too.
Yeah, and this is before I read any scouting report. Like, because I watched the games last year. I watched a lot of SEC football last year. And what I saw last year, I'm like, man, he reminded me like if Calvin Johnson was playing tight end, like it's a bigger version of Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, he could play anywhere. You stick him anywhere, he's good. Yeah,
but can he play anywhere for a consistent amount of games? So can I put him at wide receiver more than I put him at tight end? That's a big question for me when it comes to him because you can't keep lining Gronk or Travis Kelce. You can't keep lining them outside. Those are like maybe 5 plays a game, 10 plays a game where you can line them up outside and they're effective. Yeah. That's another problem I have. That's why I say he's not a wide receiver. He's still a tight end. And that gets me to my point of why would we be drafting a tight end over all the other needs we need on this team? What's your thoughts about that?
Well, so we're talking about the Falcons here. So let me ask you something. Would the Falcons be a better offense if Travis Kelce was on the offense?
Of course, he's the best tight end in the league.
So what I'm saying is I think sometimes we get a little obsessed with like drafting a guy in a spot when as a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, trust me, it doesn't matter where you draft a guy. There's plenty of guys. There's plenty of top 5 picks I've watched miss over the years. You guys have one. Like, I mean, hey, I love Dante Fowler coming out of the University of Florida Falcon right now, but I mean, was he the number 3 pick in the draft? That's it's a little high for my taste there, right there. Even though he had all it was agreed upon by all the scouts and everybody was all about it at the time. Yeah, so I think we get caught up in, like, I look at it and go, if you just take a guy that's going to work in the offense, which Kyle Pitts is the type of guy that can work in almost any offense. I mean, like, really, it's you just get a guy who's creative enough to use him the right way. That's what you need. So you talk about lining him up outside. Sure, you can line him up outside, but is that what's advantageous for you at the moment? I mean, if it's going to get you the matchup, go for it. If not, move him inside. If it's better to run 2 tight ends and he could go out in the route with if you have a good tight end on the team, you guys got Hayden Hurst on the team right now. I mean, that would be, to me, you almost go back to like Gronk and Aaron Hernandez type of combo right there. If you end up drafting Kyle Pitts in Tampa, so it definitely doesn't hurt any offense to have him in the building. The one thing I found interesting, I read in this from Matt Waldman again. I read this today. He was talking about down the road, if Pitts does hit, you can bet it's going to be an interesting conversation when it comes contract time as to whether you pay him like a wide receiver or you pay him like a tight end. So that could be an issue down the road if you want to forecast like some difficulties down there. But
tight ends now getting paid more now. Look at George Kittle and all these guys.
Yeah.
They getting paid like wide receivers now.
I think Kittle's deal was $22 million. What didn't he just get guaranteed or something today? This morning it was like 20. I was like, that's ridiculous for a tight end. You would never get that much money back in the day. So they're valuable players now because they can do so much. So
and here's the thing with Kyle Pitts. All right, and I get what you're saying, King, about him being a tight end, but you got to think about this. The head coach of the team, Arthur Smith, this man knows offensive line and tight ends. So it's nothing for Kyle Pitts to be developed and get acclimated into the system that we want him to run here in Atlanta.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. It's just I feel like other things are a necessity before we get it.
That's a different conversation. I actually agree with what you're saying there, King.
I get it, and I agree too. Wallace, Kyle Pitts, I think he played some quarterback in high school, and they just moved him. They moved him to receiver, I believe. So
it says tight end, I think, but he probably did play. He had like 34 offers, so he probably played tight end and wide receiver. So he had offers from. I don't know why he chose Florida, but he's
from Philly.
Georgia. Yeah, so he had a whole bunch. He had Indiana. He had a whole bunch of offers that you would think he probably would have went somewhere else, but he chose Florida. But he was a tight end. He committed as a tight end.
Yeah, Cologne. Yeah, we know the Falcons in London, and that's one of our home games. So we only gonna have 7 home games. Really, we're gonna be playing 10 games away. That's trash.
That's a horrible schedule.
I understand. We always get screwed. We got to play Tampa Bay. We got to play Tampa Bay of all teams. So we only get to play our divisional rivalry at the house.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. The Atlanta kid. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Kim Jong Trump. I am not faded, bro. I look like this every day. Just to let you know. Shout out to you. Thank you for the Atlanta kid for having my back. Shout out to Ultra Shadow. Yes, I'm back, brother. Back to you, Don.
Atlanta kid, yeah, he is a huge Gators fan, by the way. So I know he was gonna watch this. So
good. Yeah, hey, look, it's the type of thing with Kyle Pitts, and this is where, and maybe I'll bring you into Jaguars land. I don't mean to expose you to too much misery here, but you look at a team like the Jaguars, most years they need help at almost, you could argue, any position could be upgraded. And right now where you're at with Atlanta, where the franchise is kind of pressing the reset button, you got the new GM coming in from New Orleans, you got the new coach coming in. I mean, if I'm sitting at number 4, is it time to Kyle Pitts is certainly a nice weapon to add, and Matt Ryan's definitely got a couple years in him. And with that offense, you look at it with Julio and Matt Ryan, everybody, that's great. But if you don't, is that going to be a pick that really? I mean, it would maximize. The question is, do you want to maximize what's left of Matt Ryan, or do you start building for the future? Because the thing I look at it is, you got New Orleans had a guy retire by the name of Drew Brees this year. Tom Brady, I mean, he's probably going to play another 20 years. Let's not kid ourselves. But theoretically, you'd like to think he's going to retire the next 3 years. So you got Carolina's kind of in restart mode already. They're a year into it. do you press the restart button now in hopes that the Jameis and Taysom Hill thing is a disaster in New Orleans and Tampa Bay just ride it out for another year or two with Tampa Bay, and then you're primed to compete with Carolina in 3 years from now with a new quarterback?
Let me ask you this question since you're a Jaguars fan. How many times y'all pressed the reset button and it didn't work?
Don't compare anything to Jacksonville.
I'm just asking the question.
No, because it's not a good comparison. It's not a good comparison.
The funny part is this is hilarious.
I'm not comparing.
It's not a good comparison. You don't want to compare yourself to Jacksonville because
I don't trust me. Oh no.
Statistically, it's impossible to be as bad as we've been. Like you would think at some point there's
because y'all hit the reset button so many times.
I felt like y'all had such a good chance. The year y'all went to the conference championship. I was like, that's the best team they've had. And
Miles Jack wasn't down either. The locker room, they lost the locker room. Coughlin was like just not built for modern day players, and they just revolted. Like they hated Tom Coughlin. The NFLPA was basically telling people don't go sign in Jacksonville, and it was a disaster that unfolded. They basically, every choice that you can make, they're like, hey, we're going to extend. We're going to pick up that 5th year on Blake Bortles. Hey, do you want to extend Marquise Lee or Allen Robinson? Oh, we'll take Marquise Lee. Like basically any choice you can make, you press the wrong button in any 50-50 scenario. And if you do that compounded 7 or 8 times, that's what's happened since that 2017 season where it's just been. And then last year they just like shredded it down to nothing so that they could start over again this year. But man, it's been rough. But like with Atlanta, the thing that you guys have consistently had as Matt Ryan, and he's been the piece. You guys have had that quarterback. So even when you're not good, there's that potential to bounce back quickly because you have that stud quarterback. But how many years we got left with Matt?
2. But here's the thing, though. You got to look at other quarterbacks. No, I think we have a look. I say 2 or 3, but it could be more if we invest in the trenches and protect Matt Ryan. Just like New Orleans did. New Orleans, what they did in 2017, everybody laughed at that Ryan Ramczak pick that they did when they went back into the first round. Ryan Ramczak been a stud for them since. If we can invest in the trenches, invest in the offensive line, protect Matt Ryan can have more years left in the tank. Like I feel like quarterback is not the issue. Should we draft a quarterback at 4? No, it does not make any sense to draft.
It doesn't help us at all.
It does not to draft a quarterback
where did that come from?
For 2 or 3 years. It doesn't make sense.
Wait. I'm gonna let you say it doesn't make sense for this year, but it makes sense for the long-term effect of what that coach wants to do. Because if he drafts him now, he gets to sit behind Matt Ryan, and he gets to learn the system behind somebody else that's a good quarterback. So when he is thrown in there when Matt is not ready, then it makes sense for the future. Kyle Pitts makes no absolute sense for the future. He just puts butts in seats, honestly, because you now know they're going to have a high-powered offense, and they're probably going to score a lot of points, and they're probably going to lose a lot of games.
But here's the thing. I understand a lot of people say, well, they comparing what Kansas City did with Pat Mahomes. Okay, Pat Mahomes and that Kansas City team, he got drafted by a 12-14 team, 12-14 that season. All right, there was a playoff team. So it was nothing for them to just draft a quarterback and let them sit there already a winning team. Well, on the other hand, we ain't the Chiefs. We're not winning games. We need somebody that's gonna come in. Hold on. We need somebody that's gonna come in day 1 and make an impact on this team. We don't need nobody sitting behind Matt Ryan on the bench, eating peanuts, passing around Gatorade, and just learning the playbook for a year or 2. And I had Matt Carrolley on the show this past Sunday. It makes no sense to just have somebody just sitting on the bench like that. You just wasting money. We don't have cap space.
It was $7 million.
So exactly, we don't have the money like that.
To sit on the bench. I tweeted that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like me having I get paid good money, but I don't get paid great money. That's like me having a Gucci suit and I ain't wearing it. Like, come on, man. Like, that don't make any sense.
Okay, so
Jack, what's good, man? Thank you for the $9.99 donation, man. He said, do y'all think...
Thank you for the donation.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. He said, do y'all think we could trade back and pick up Kyle Pitts? If so, at what draft number? with I'm gonna be honest with you, Pitts ain't making it out of the top 8. He's gonna get picked before 8. So we trade back. If we trade back and hoping he's gonna be there, he's not. So we trade back with Denver. They say fans we trade back with Denver or we trade back with New England or something like that. We're not picking Pitts. We might as well be talking about Parsons or somebody like that.
So the three you seem to agree double down on Matt Ryan for a few more years. Correct?
Yeah.
Because his contract, and then we just restructured his contract, which made it more impossible to get rid of him. I'm telling y'all right now, he's gonna get extended. He's gonna get extended. They're gonna get him 2 or 3 more years onto his contract. I'm telling y'all what I know.
I say for the money they will. Especially to spread that money out, I feel like
it opens up more money.
Yeah, they're gonna give him that extension.
So if that's the answer, then I think Kyle Pitts is a lot more attractive for the Falcons. I think it's a lot more attractive pick. Now, you could talk to me about, like you had mentioned in the pre-show, Don, you like Penei Sewell too. Like if you guys want to invest in it. Yeah. If
that's,
you guys,
that's my guy.
That's my guy too.
And I could listen to that argument too. He's fantastic too. But I'm
his
saying
pro day tomorrow. His pro day tomorrow. And everybody who watched Justin Fields pro day, y'all better be tuned in to Penei Sewell's pro day tomorrow too. Y'all better get in that same image.
See, obviously San Francisco traded up, so I really think Fields is going to end up in San Francisco. I really do think he's going to that number 3 pick. I think the Mac Jones thing's a smokescreen entirely. Like, I like Mac Jones, but if Justin Fields and Mac Jones are on the board, I think you got to go with Fields. But if Fields,
laugh. I'm going to laugh if he gets picked by San Francisco.
But man, if Fields is available, if Fields is available at number 4, y'all are totally just not even interested. Like Atlanta kid too. He's from the Atlanta area, right? Like,
look,
I mean,
I don't care. Listen, I'm be honest with you, Nick. I don't care if this man grew up in my mama's house.
No,
right? I don't want this man. We don't.
How many years do you have a chance? How many years do the Falcons have a chance to draft a quarterback at that level? Though
we can trade up and get a quarterback. That's what we do with Julio.
You're paying.
It don't matter if we know Matt Ryan is not going to be the guy. We see teams do this. We just seen San Francisco do this.
Yeah, and how much they just mortgaged 3 first. What did they pay for that?
But guess what? We did the same thing. We did the same thing with Julio Jones. Hold on. We did the same thing with Julio Jones, and guess what? We did the same thing with Michael Vick too back in 2001.
Right, and that's why the Falcons tend to have star players and big holes in other parts of their team, right?
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. You're right. But at the same time, that goes back to my argument. Why are we drafting somebody who's not going to play? We need somebody.
I say, if anything, we draft later. Like I said, I've been saying, draft. If we're gonna draft the quarterback, there's other quarterbacks. Mind you, the guy that was throwing Kyle Pitts all these touchdowns last year is in this draft.
Yeah,
Kyle Trask is sitting right here in this draft.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about him.
Kellen Mond.
You saw that move he threw? Like, it's quarterbacks that aren't in this little top 5 that, this special group that are going to be good quarterbacks down. Like, Kyle Trask is my guy. Because I watched him shred Georgia to pieces. So Kyle Trask is my guy. He's done it twice. Like, he beat Georgia. He's shown Georgia. Felipe Franks is even in this draft. If you want to go that route. But the thing is, hey, somebody's going to pick up Felipe Franks.
Yeah,
I don't know who. But I will say Kyle Trask is a top guy, and Kellen Mond. Those are my 2 that aren't going to go in the first round, but they will be good picks, and I don't see how they won't be.
And that's a great point because we get so obsessed with the first round pick, and we talk about the trades and everything else and what's going to happen. That's really the bulk of the draft is what we don't talk about. And if you've got, let's say you took Kyle Pitts in the first round and you took Kyle Trask in the second, so you have that heir apparent for Matt Ryan. That solves a lot of problems right there.
It does, but I'm just to the point right now, man. Like I'm not saying people keep thinking that I want Matt Ryan to play to 65 years old. No. I know within a couple of years, yes, we will need to draft a quarterback. In this draft, no, we don't because we got so many holes to fill. I'm not on the Kyle Pitts train altogether. I want defense. I want pass rushers. If we can trade back, I've been on the trade back train ever since because this just don't make any sense. We're really not a 4-12 team for real. We just really need holes. We need to fill holes.
You better hope someone loves Trey Lance someone loves Trey Lance that we don't know about yet.
I think Denver likes Trey Lance a lot. I think Denver, even though they have what's his name, Drew Lock. I like Drew Lock. I think Drew Lock is just one good coordinator away from being a good quarterback. But I think that team, if they're building around Drew Lock, then of course I feel like they're going to be good. I don't know. I think Denver might be the only one to have it because Denver's been going since they lost Peyton Manning. They've been going through. They don't know who their quarterback is. Who's the guy they drafted from Memphis a couple years ago? Who was a bust?
Lynch.
Yeah, Paxton Lynch. Then they went from somebody who was at Osweiler. Like, so they need a quarterback that's going to sit there. Drew Lock is supposedly their future. I've liked Drew Lock since he was at Missouri. He was the one that he's confident. That's what I like about Drew Lock. So if anything, I feel like he'll be the next guy to if they're gonna keep him or they go up for Trey Lance. It just depends.
But I think people keep thinking about Denver, but you got to think about New England might want to trade Washington.
They got
they're not gonna keep Cam long term.
Come on,
I don't
man.
think they'll keep Cam long term.
They're not gonna keep Cam, man. Come on, man.
Let me tell you this. Let me say this there. Cam Newton went to a team, right? And they didn't have any like off season for one. That's probably one of the hardest systems in the NFL to learn. Then he was out for 3 games, I think, due to
3 or
COVID.
4. I watched the interview. I think it was 3 or 4.
Was out. That team
with COVID.
So I think this year it's not going to be the same Cam Newton we saw last year. He's going to have a full year. He knows the system now, or he should if he's been studying the playbook. So now this Cam Newton is going to be totally different than last year's Cam Newton, and that's going to get him a contract extension.
Let me tell you something, King.
That's a prediction.
If you write on that, I will come to North Carolina myself and wax your car.
Oh, it needs one too, brother. Y'all heard it. What 32-20.
The thing with Cam, I don't know if you guys.
It's not gonna happen.
I Am Athlete. The thing with Cam was he said it in his interview he did with it was like Brandon Marshall and Ocho Cinco and all of them. Yeah. He said the thing was that they kept going. Like I wasn't there and they kept moving. And I didn't know what I came back and they was like tiger and lion. And I don't know what these plays are. I wasn't there for 4 weeks and I'm trying to be at home trying to learn. And it's different than me being on the field. And then he said, I don't have a guy. He said he has a guy. What's the guy from USC they drafted? He likes him at wide receiver. Yeah. So he was like, so the thing was for him, he said, just give him he said he couldn't go out like that. And I think this year is going to be a different Cam. I really do. I'll agree with King on that. I really think Cam this year with a good year under is it McDaniels? A good year under McDaniels, he'll look different. I promise you he will.
He'll look different, but I don't think his year gonna be solid.
What's the solid year?
If New England make the playoffs, it's gonna be predicated off their defense.
What's
like it's always been.
And so I can get my car waxed.
We'll talk about details later. We'll talk details.
You gotta put it on the record, man.
I want to see. Look, if he can throw, I don't care about him running the ball. Okay, if he can throw for over 3,500 yards.
Oh, that's easy.
That's easy for Cam. Oh yeah, Cam.
We're gonna see. Hold on.
Easy.
Hold on. 3,500 yards.
Okay.
All right. I'll say 24 touchdowns.
Is that passing or total?
Passing. We talking about passing.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. King's out already.
24 touchdowns, passing touchdowns, and he needs to stay under. Let's see.
You should add games played because that's the actual issue.
Yeah,
but
injury.
How many games is he actually going to play?
And he got to have a quarterback. He got to have a quarterback rating over
95. Give me at least 95. He's got to throw 24 touchdowns. Come on now.
You got to go
95.
This is the most detailed I'll wax your car bet I've ever heard in my life. This is like 6 deep. It should be like 1 or 2 things.
I'll stop right there. Look, listen. All right. So going back to the draft at number 4. All right. Yeah. But going back to Kyle Pitts, and this is why I said that I will be inclined on it. I'm not on Kyle Pitts train, but I feel like when you draft a guy like Kyle, if the Falcons draft a guy like Kyle Pitts, okay, it has to be for a financial reason because you got to think about it. Calvin Ridley and Hayden Hurst are going into their contract. They're going to the last year of their contract. You're not going to be able to pay both of these guys. You're not. All right. And the cap in 2022 looks better, but it ain't all that. So we're not going to be able to pay. Go ahead.
I said Hayden Hurst. If anything, if we don't pick up his 5th year, if he wants to stay here, I feel like I know he's gonna want his money, but if he really might take less.
He's not going to take less.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he will. Because he's a player. I mean, he's good. He's a good tight end. If he shows us that he can, I mean, mind you, he had 2 really big touchdowns last year, and they were on bootlegs. You saw his speed. So
have like that. This year has to be like one of those top 3 tight end years. He can't have no top 7 tight end year and expect to get paid because he really hasn't done nothing in the NFL already.
But you got to look at market value though. You got to look at market value right now, and the tight ends right now, market value is not up there, but even market value is out of it's too rich for our blood. So even if he has a okay year, if he have a year like he had last year, he's going to add some market value, and which we're not going to be able to pay him that.
And we got to pay Calvin. You got to pay Ridley.
You got to pay Ridley. And that goes back to Kyle Pitts. So you want to continue. You want to make sure you have a playmaker, tight end on your team, and not only that solidifies the future because when Julio leaves and retire, you have a Kyle Pitts, you have a playmaker. Like Calvin Ridley, yes, he is a great wide receiver. I get that. Yes, he's a good wide receiver. I get that. But is he on the level of Julio Jones? No, he's not.
That's not fair. That's not fair, Don.
How is that?
Wait, but the level of Julio Jones go down as arguably one of the top 5 NFL wide receivers.
You're right, it's not meant to be fair. It's not meant to be fair.
You can't compare a guy that's not built like Julio. He doesn't have the same catching radius as Julio. That's not fair.
I'm not comparing, but I'm not making an argument of comparing him to Julio. What I'm trying to say is you need a person like a Kyle Pitts if Julio decides to leave. If we decide that when Julio's contract is running out, we don't want to pay him anymore, either that or he retires, you have a guy like Kyle Pitts on the team. You've seen the tape on this man. This man, he would grab up and catch the ball. He does similar things like Megatron and Julio Jones, those receiver does that other receivers can't do. You don't see Calvin Ridley just going up there and getting the ball like that.
Calvin Ridley's a route technician. He's smaller. He's smaller than Julio, of course. When we drafted him, we knew we were getting a speed guy. He's more of a he's not really Alabama. If you look at how Alabama's wide receivers have changed over time, if you go back to Julio and Amari Cooper, they were big guys. Now look who they got: Waddle, Ridley. These smaller guys, but they're fast. That's who Alabama's producing now. So we got a newer Alabama receiver. So he's gonna be fast and he's a good route guy. Look at Waddle. Waddle is a great route guy. What's the one that's in Denver? Is it Jared Judy? Look at great route guys. These guys are great route guys. So these are what we're getting now. We're not going to get a lot of big receivers now. I mean, I think Tramar Chase, is that his name, from LSU? He's bigger. He's a bigger guy. He's big. So, I mean, you're going to get these smaller guys. I'm glad Calvin's going to be here forever. He might be a lifetime Falcon like Julio was. So
he's going to be our number 1.
Yeah, he's going to turn into our number 1. So he's going to be the fast, speedy guy. We're gonna if we take Pitts, Pitts is gonna be the guy. If he's the guy that if we gonna need a big receiver, a big guy to throw it to, that's who you have.
Go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
Isaiah Davis, he said Surtain is the only guy we trade down for Pitts. It's not a guy like a guy I like. He is clearly a smoke screen, not only, but Justin Fields screams a bust. I'm not going to sit here and press the bust button on Fields, but I tell you this, if Fields doesn't go to the right team and develop him, he's not going to perform well. That's just me. And I've seen Fields play at Ohio State. We done seen him struggle in games like Northwestern and Indiana, and then he struggled against a NFL prototype team like Alabama Crimson Tide in the national championship game.
Well, we just skipped right over the Sugar Bowl, didn't we?
Yeah,
You
they
talking
love
about?
that.
I know he. Look, I know he played well against Clemson, but let's be real. Clemson, they didn't even have their OC. Their OC was out with COVID.
what they got to
So,
do with.
What's that
but
OC got to do with Justin Fields?
like I said though, the Clemson could have put up more points if he was there coaching the
All
game.
right.
Defense.
I'm just saying, like, the dynamics change all the time. I just want y'all to see that. But yes, he played well against in the Sugar Bowl. But let's be real. Clemson, Alabama, who was a better team last season? It was Bama.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
All
Well,
right.
I've watched a lot of Buckeye football in my life. Grew up watching Buckeye football. Justin Fields, I have no problem saying he's the best quarterback I've seen put on a Buckeye jersey in my lifetime. Ohio State doesn't produce a ton of NFL quarterbacks, unfortunately, but I think he's absolutely right. I think sometimes you overanalyze guys, and I think Fields is a prime example. Hey, look, I like Zach Wilson a lot last year. I loved watching that BYU team. Their offense was just a lot of fun to watch. They had a lot of good weapons on that team, and that Coastal Carolina BYU game was probably my favorite college football game of the season. That was an awesome game. But I mean, who did Wilson play last year? That's my everyone's just giving him a nod. It's like
he didn't play nobody.
He ain't play nobody. But that's the same argument. That's the same argument that you can put with Trey Lance.
Go back to Fields for a sec here. Like, everyone gets on him for that Northwestern game, and I agree that was not a good game. Hey, the Indiana game, if you go back and watch it, he's forcing it. They were up 35-7 in that game. The Buckeyes were up 35-7, and then he started forcing passes. He made a few mistakes. It was not his best game. But the Northwestern game, because it's Big Ten title, everyone tuned in and check it out. Yeah, it wasn't his best game. I think Northwestern's going to have 5 or 6 guys drafted off their defense this year. Their defense is loaded. It's better than you would think for Northwestern, number one. But if you go back a couple weeks before that, when Ohio State had to cancel one of their games, I believe it was the Maryland game, and the next week they played against Michigan, down about 23 or 24 players.
You talking about last year?
This past year. No, we didn't.
We didn't play Ohio State.
Michigan State, man.
Michigan. I thought you said Michigan. Like, I'm a Michigan fan.
Michigan
I know we
skipped
didn't
it.
play them.
I know Michigan skipped it. I know. We all know Michigan skipped that game this year. They didn't want any part of it. But
hey, I ain't gonna lie, we didn't. We ain't want that smoke. I ain't gonna lie.
They saw what Justin Fields did with half a team up in East Lansing. Go back and watch that Michigan State game. He carried the team on his back in that game, and I think that Fields is getting way overanalyzed at this point. I really think there's a connection there with Shanahan, though. I think there's I think he's going to end up in San Francisco, so it might not be relevant for Atlanta anyway.
But here's the thing with Fields, though, and I've said this: can he be consistent with carrying the team? But like we've seen Matt Ryan carry the team on his back. Yes, I'm not going to compare Fields to Ryan. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
that's not fair. But
it's going to be hard to replace Matt Ryan, though.
But can Fields be consistent? That's all I'm asking. Can he be consistent? Because you're going to be playing up against guys who, like, you're not playing up against Iowa. You're not playing up against teams like Rutgers or Maryland. You're playing NFL pro caliber players who want to come and put you in the ground. Like Kojak, man, thank you for the $4.99 donation. He said, so I'm asking each of y'all this. Would you take Kyle Pitts at 4? If not, then who at 4? Or trade down for who? Tell the truth. I'm all about trading down. You trade now, and if we can fall on a player like AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker, I like Michael Parsons. I'll take him if he's available. I also take a guy like Patrick Surtain. He's good. I think he'd be fine. Those are the type of players I would choose, in the teens or in the 20s. I don't think we're going to be trading in the late 20s. I don't think that's smart enough unless we rating everybody for their picks to 2035 or whatever. But yeah, that's just me, Kojak. But who's your pick, man? Let me know who you want to pick. But if we stay at 4, I like Sewell over Pitts. Sewell, to me, I feel like he is a generational talent type of offensive lineman. Pitts, it makes sense financially, but I like Sewell, and I've been talking about Sewell for a good minute.
What do you do with Jake Matthews if you take him?
He's at
Um,
right. Like my thing. Okay, so I'm a lineman guy. I played online. So my thing for if we take Sewell, I think remember Crowley said it. Don, he can play left guard. Sewell is a weird guy for me because he can play anything on O line except center. So he can play left guard, left tackle. He can go to the right side if he needed. So he's just aggressive. He's a bulldog of a player. So if you get Matthews, if you want to keep Matthews or you want to put Matthews at right tackle and then put Sewell at left tackle, you can do it like that. Or if you want to keep him at left and then take a no out and put Sewell at left guard. That's who I say. But the thing is, if we trade down, I say take Rashawn Slater. I think it's Slater or Slaughter.
Slater. Northwestern.
Out of Northwestern, because they call him. I tweet. I had a whole thing. He's a Chase Young killer. He is a Chase Young killer. Yes, he is. He is literally the one that he can play guard because of his height. He's not tall. He's 6'3". Because of height, if he want to put him at tackle, you can. But he's a shorter tackle.
I seen him in the run game. I seen him in the run game blocking. Oh my!
He's disgusting. His film.
It ain't like Sewell, but like dang, it's damn near it.
If you and then if we trade down to 15 and those two are gone, Slater. I like or Elijah Tucker, like you said, EBT. Those guys, I mean not Slater, Darisaw from Virginia Tech. He's another good tackle. He's 6'5", 6'6". Those are I'm an O-line guy, so I've looked at all these O-line talents. So with even if you have Elijah Vera Tucker or you have Darisaw on the board, only thing I don't like about Darisaw is that I watched his Notre Dame tape. His Notre Dame tape was iffy for me because he's good. I mean, he can cut block. He can move. It's just he gets a beat on the outside a lot. He takes that first inside step, and then he can't really turn his body to guard the outside. And I don't want Matt getting hit like that. Now, if you put him at right tackle, I'm okay with him at right tackle because Matt can see it happening. He can step up. That's the only thing I don't like about the only time I take at left tackle. If you keep Jake, you keep Jake at left tackle no matter what. You keep Jake at left tackle, and then if you want to have Sewell or you want to take Slater, one of those two. If you take one of those two, you put him at either left guard, you can put him at left tackle and put Jake at right. Either way, that's how we structure it. But Surtain, any defensive guy I'm taking. If Surtain, Farley, or you said Parsons. Parsons is a scary athlete. He's a scary because he was fast. He's big and fast too. So a lot of these guys that are in this draft, like a lot of them, I didn't see any Florida DBs or nothing. I saw a lot of Georgia DBs. Top 2, top 3 picks. But I don't know. What's his name from Georgia? If we like you said, mortgage there. If somebody wants to in the 20s wants to mortgage their whole till 2030, it's a lot of good guys in this draft. So if anything, I say we draft defense. If we don't draft O-line, we draft defense. There's no reason to draft the quarterback in my eye.
My big issue, I like Sewell out of Oregon as well. But if your first answer is, well, we're going to move his position to left guard, I know he can do it, but he beat out a bunch of NFL talent his freshman year at Oregon. That Oregon O-line's been rock solid the last 2 years. Yeah. He beat out a bunch of NFL dudes for that left tackle spot in Eugene, like the first season on campus. So that says something about his talent level. Another thing you got to consider with him, he sat out last year. We don't know the answer to the question with some of these guys who didn't play a lot last year is like, are they going to need a minute? Is it like coming back from injury or something where you need a minute to get your speed back a little bit? So on top of jumping up a level, is he going to have an adjustment period to just get back on the field at all? Like, so will that be like a tough first month on the field or something like that? There could be a little bit of that, but that's a short-term concern. I think the big thing that you want to talk about, the question that you got to ask yourself, the number one question if I'm the Falcons, do we believe we can compete immediately with a few tweaks to this roster? And if the answer is yes, Kyle Pitts does make sense at
all right, 4. Let me and Wallace just said anytime you get interviewed multiple times and going to have a few more interviews later, it's most likely you're going to get the job. Kyle Pitts has been interviewed a lot by the Falcons. A lot. And right there shows me that they're highly interested. And like I said, Arthur Smith is a tight end offensive line guy. So he knows who he need to bring in. Like you had this man, hold on. This man had doggone Derrick Henry on his team. Freakish athlete. Who's a freakish athlete in this draft right now?
No, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do
No,
that.
I am doing that. I just did it.
No,
I
The
just
most
did
freakish
it.
athlete is Pitts, King.
no,
You can't deny the fact the most freakish athlete is Pitts in this draft.
no. That's not what I'm not doubting that. He is probably one of the best athletes in this draft. But you're not going to say Kyle Pitts and then talk about Derrick Henry. That's what you're not going to do. That's totally different. Because Derrick Henry is an NFL pro and he has shown he can do this.
Yeah, he has shown. Yes, but here's the thing. Before Arthur Smith, Arthur Smith was an OC, what Derrick Henry was really doing in Tennessee? Let's be real.
Split time.
All right.
Split time.
Hold on. All right. What he was doing before, because guess what? Who's OC in Tennessee before Arthur Smith took over? It was doggone LaFleur, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Exactly.
He wasn't doing nothing. Now, as soon as doggone Arthur Smith became the offensive coordinator, what happened with Derrick Henry?
He went up.
Almost MVP.
All right. So this man knows how to get the best out of his players.
Oh yeah, Jonnu Smith is good. You can't say
that's another guy that
tight
took
ends
off
are.
under Arthur Smith.
Is you not? It's a field. He uses his tight ends more than anything on the field. He barely.
Exactly.
He doesn't even use his receivers. He uses his tight ends.
Jonnu did not do much before Arthur Smith. Jonnu took off in that offense, and he got a big contract from New England because of it. So I have no doubt that Arthur Smith can make Kyle Pitts look awfully good in this offense. And the fact is, it is tempting just from a fan standpoint when you talk about plugging him in. If you're going to go the Matt Ryan route and you say, we think we can compete right now, then Kyle Pitts is a no-brainer for this team. But if you want to talk about more rebuilding and for the future, you look at investing. I also you could argue with if you get an immediate impact on offensive line too, about having an immediate, but right, someone that's going to have immediate day one impact on the offense. If not, it's not a bad idea to invest in the defense. That's kind of where you're at. It depends on where the team sees itself.
The team needs defense. I'm a defensive guy. We need defense. But if we cannot find a trade partner and we stuck with that fourth overall pick, you have to either go Pitts or Sewell. I need somebody who's gonna come in
at that spot. You don't take Michael Parsons at 4, King.
Yeah, that's too high to take
Michael Parsons at 4.
Can I say this though? Can I say this? Can we all agree that once Derrick Henry started playing better, that whole team started playing better?
But they started using him. They weren't using him like
they wasn't using him. But guess what? Who was the offensive coordinator?
Understood. I understand who the offensive coordinator was and how this team played better, but we still have to look at the fact of this team played better because they could run the ball and they made Ryan Tannehill look a lot better than he was. We all know that Arthur Smith is an O-line genius. So what happens if we can go and say that he made the O-line better, which made Derrick Henry better, which made everything else around them better? We all know Derrick Henry was the best.
Isaiah just had a question about. Hey, Isaiah, we did a show on Devontae Williams, I think a month ago, I believe. Go check out archives on YouTube. Go if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go over there, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We did a show on Devontae. I love Devontae Williams. I think outside of Najee Harris, I think he's him and the guy from Travis Etienne. I think he's like the third best running back in this draft. And if he's there in the second round for us to take, I'll take him. I love Javonte Williams. And
Williams and Pitts in that offense. You plug in Williams and Pitts. Woo!
Oh, that's a scary team.
Oh man,
that's a scary team.
I'm talking about this offense. I'm talking about the defense. Good night.
I'm just saying that sounds good.
Hey, high-powered offense, the defense really ain't got to be on the field that long. If we think about it,
Super Bowl then.
But look though, if we can run the ball, eat up clock. If we can run the ball, eat up clock, that does help our defense. That helps the defense.
It does help the
defense.
But
we have to put up points, but the defense got to make stops. The defense has to make stops.
Do we have to if it has to result in the Falcons to continue scoring to win the game, I don't want it. I don't want it because it's not going to help us because it's going to get to the point where we can't score and now the other team is scoring because we can't stop them on defense. I don't want it. I just can't. I can't. No, we need to
I get
build.
what you're saying, man. We do need a defense.
Defense. If we go draft Kyle Pitts, let me be honest. I'm gonna say this on record. I am not a Kyle Pitts hater. I want Kyle Pitts to be great. He can go 3, 5, 15. I don't care. If he goes to the Falcons, he has to be great, and we have to win a Super Bowl with Kyle Pitts, in my opinion. Because now you're putting too much on just yes, you tell me not to look at the position, but the tight end position is probably the least important position on the field when it comes to making a team better, in my opinion.
But here's the thing, though. I'm going back to saying what I said. If we draft Pitts, I understand. I'm not on the Pitts train. But if we pick Pitts, it's more of a financial security. It's an insurance policy because if we cannot bring back Hayden Hurst, we have a tight end there. Arthur Smith, he needs a tight. Any offense these days, you need a playmaker, a tight end.
I think, King, the big issue I have with what you're saying about Pitts is you're talking about Pitts. You keep just calling him a tight end, and he's more. He's not just like I would say Pat Freiermuth from Penn State. We're not talking about that. Like he's a great player. If you got him at the top of the second round, you got yourselves a solid tight end of the future right there. There's no problem with the guy's game. But we're not talking about him at number 4. Pitts is being talked about this high because he has got some extra elements to his game that normal tight ends just don't have. And we've seen the elite NFL offenses, they usually have a guy that can catch something over the middle. And right now, Atlanta, I mean, I like Hayden Hurst. He's a good player. But Atlanta, you plug him into that offense. If you're doubling down on Matt Ryan for a few years and you're saying we're not quite ready, we're not going to go full rebuild, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. There's not going to be another Kyle Pitts next year to take. There's not going to be a Kyle Pitts 3 years from now. He's kind of like a once like who else is built like this guy right now? So, I mean, this guy's something special and would be worthy of the number 4 selection entirely. But the question, I guess I just keep going back to the same question. Where do you see yourself if you're Atlanta? To me, if I'm Atlanta, I'm looking at what's going on in Tampa Bay. They're bringing that whole roster back. Probably not going to win the division this year. Now, can I be better than Carolina and New Orleans? Maybe Carolina, but New Orleans probably at least a split with them, right? We're not necessarily saying. But so if you think that Kyle Pitts or any of these draft picks can take you guys to that next level and you still compete with Matt Ryan, you go for it now. But if not, you start to look for the future. You draft Sewell and you look ahead. You draft a quarterback, something like that. That's what, or you go defense, like you guys are talking about. But it really depends on where the front office sees itself. If you see them taking Kyle Pitts, I think that's a clear message to say we're going to take one more stab at a Super Bowl with Matt Ryan. We're going to take one more Super Bowl run with him.
Well, we're trying to do one anyway because of who we hired as a head coach. We hired a guy who has a great record at getting the best out of his players and also having a high percentage in the red zone, which we struggled against last year, which we did a horrible job with last year. Arthur Smith is known for turning lemons into lemon pie. All right, chicken crap into chicken salad. We didn't hire a guy like Eric Bieniemy, or a guy like what's the other guy that got hired? I forgot. It's so many guys. We didn't hire a guy that we know, okay, this is a full rebuild. This is not a rebuild with Atlanta. We're not rebuilding. We just retooling. And they said this in the interviews, like they want Matt Ryan here, for another few years because you want to see what he can do under Arthur Smith. Now I say this year, next year, if Matt Ryan struggle, okay, cool. Then you have to draft a quarterback. And like I said, you can always trade and get you a quarterback. Will it cost us some picks? Yes, it will. But if you want to grow up and get your guy, you're going to do that. We seen look at San Francisco. San Francisco, they went through a rebuild back in 2017. They just now looking at the future of drafting a quarterback in this year's draft. Every year they done drafted trench players. And yes, they did a Super Bowl appearance the year before last.
So let me say this, though, about the Falcons and Matt Ryan and building for the future. So last year, was Kyle Pitts on this team?
No, Kyle Pitts was on this team.
He was not on this team. Last year, we can all agree as Falcons fans, there's about 4 or 5 games that we lost because of play calling, right?
It was coaching, yeah.
Okay, so you telling me that with this team, with the 4 or 5 games, we could have won maybe 10 games last year and been a playoff team, right? What is one thing last year that happened that couldn't be changed? It was how many times Matt Ryan got sacked. When it comes to getting sacked and getting pressure on the quarterback for the other teams, that is something we struggled with all year, no matter if it was play calling during the game, no matter if it was scoring points during the game. Those are the 2 things that we struggled with all year and have struggled with for the last 2 or maybe 3 years, depending on how far you want to go back. So with that being said, adding Kyle Pitts to this offense doesn't fix a problem.
But you're looking at the old regime, you're looking at the old coaching staff. You seen a guy like Dirk Cutter, who seen Matt Ryan getting peeled off the turf and not adjusting to it. You see that in the first game. I'm trying to figure out the name. Who's the safety on the Seahawks?
You talking about Jamal Adams?
Yeah, Adams. Adams was in the backfield that whole game. Did Dirk Cutter make any adjustments? No. He allowed to continue the status quo of his play call and allowed Matt Ryan to keep getting hit. As a play caller, it's your job to see what's going on in the game. If you see your quarterback getting pressured, you change the game plan. And I don't think Arthur Smith is going to be that dumb to just sit there and just say, oh, I'm going to continue doing this. No, he's not going to do that.
Matt got sacked 41 times last season, y'all.
You can't say coaching. He didn't get sacked 41 times in one game.
I mean, the thing is, but if you look at, I understand, but what Don's saying is, you got Derek Cutter, who literally didn't make adjustments throughout the whole game, and our defense that didn't have adjustments the whole game either. The games we won, those are perfect coach games. The games that we won were games that were.
And some of those games, the teams almost came back. Look at that Denver game.
Yeah, the Denver game was bad.
Exactly.
So, the thing is, we've had Derek Cutter. We have a whole new regime in which I trust. I trust Arthur Smith. If you go and look at any of these coaches that we have on our coaching staff, and you look at the way they play in their processes, if you look at Arthur Smith's offense these last how many years he's been in Tennessee, 3 or 4 years, you can see 2. It's been 2. Oh, even that better. Look at those years that he's been there. Look what he did with Derrick Henry. What he did with Jonnu Smith. What he's done with what's the big one that's one of Julio's fans? Is it Davis? He one of their main receivers. Look at Corey Day. All of the guys they have there. Look at how those guys got better as soon as Arthur Smith got there. So, and then look at Dean Pease's defenses. Look at the defenses he's had. I think somebody said in the chat. He hasn't had a bad defense in his whole career.
Never been fired from a team.
Never been fired. Third time he's come out of retirement.
Yeah, I think it's his third. Yeah. So the thing is with Dean Pease, if you're gonna think about it, we don't know what we got on this team with all these guys we have on this team. We don't know how he's gonna use them. Mykal Walker is a stud. Mykal Walker is a stud of a linebacker, and we didn't see him much last year. You got Deion Jones, who we've known as a stud for years. We got Foye. Yeah, like so you got these. I mean, we take Micah. That's if we run like a 3-4. I can see us taking Micah. But still, you got we don't have safety, so we're gonna have to draft safeties. We got Eric Harris. Eric Harris is more of a leadership guy. In his interview, he said it. He was more of a leadership guy when they got him, but he's still gonna play. He's not a bag. His story is cool to me, but the thing is, like, we're bringing in Brandon Copeland is here now. Like, we brought in guys. Mike Davis is a running back. We brought in guys that we know are going to do good on this team that we've had. And Terry and I follow the Falcons social media, so they always post these breakdowns with David Archer. And Arthur Smith broke down the whole roster, like the whole coaching staff.
Yeah.
And said, I like these guys because of this. He said, I'm still calling plays, but my offensive coordinator is going to take the pressure off of me of calling formations and what I need to do in a certain formation. That's all he's there. He's going to help me. And the thing he said, Pease was a guy that's going to come in and help him be a coach because he's never been a head coach before. He said, this is going to help me learn how to be a head coach. So the thing is, I think this team, Pease is gonna help the whole team. He's gonna help offense and defense. We just need an old guy here. He might not be here but 2-3 years, and he might retire again out of just age and want to retire. But the thing is, we have a team that we don't know. Really and truly, we have a team that we don't know. Because we haven't seen these guys at their full expectation. We got Mingo coming in. We got guys that coming in that are maybe not be the stars they were at a certain point in their careers, but they're going to come in and be fundamental guys for us. So we draft maybe what they're trying to say. I think they're trying to move one of our young corners to safety. I can't think of his name. I think it might have been. Did we get rid of Brady? Wilson? Did we get rid of him, or is he the one that's still left?
I don't know. I got to look at you.
I think, but yeah.
I don't see a Wilson on the depth chart.
Okay, so he might have been the one we got rid of. But I know there's a lot of it's a lot of these young. We have I think like 3 or 4 young corners. I think they're trying to say Sheffield and AJ can play together, one on each side. I don't know. Like I say, if we drive down, we still get Surtain, no matter what. Unless P says we don't take a corner, I say we take a corner.
Yeah, Isaiah said. So do you think Richie Grant or Andre Cisco? I like Cisco. If we get Cisco, I promise you, I'm dyeing my hair gold. I'm doing some backflips off a violin beat. I'm looking at some thongs. I'm messing with y'all.
Cisco?
Cisco. Everybody knows Cisco back in the day. I know it's spelled different, so I'm just joking. Anyway,
Richie Grant's been talked about a lot.
Yeah, he was.
He had a great Senior Bowl week. But hey, I'm telling you, just going back, I saw someone mention Chase Young. We need a guy like Chase Young in the comments, and let's go back to Pitts here. You say a guy like Chase Young. There's not a lot of guys like Chase Young, and that's
especially
why,
in this draft. This draft is not a lot of good DNs.
Yes, but
it's not.
But you look at it, and that's the point. That's why Kyle Pitts has value. There aren't 6'6" dudes who can run and catch like this. It doesn't exist. It would be like total mismatch nightmare across the field. So even though it's a tight end, it has that type of value because that's like a Jaguar fan saying, "Hey, we should just draft another Julio Jones." Ain't too many Julios coming out every year,
and that's why we reached up and grabbed Julio back in 2011 because
Exactly. So that's really the best argument for Pitts that I can make. But I just think it's a completely special talent. You go back, I mean, University of Florida's got plenty of talented players coming through that program. And when you could easily say, like, I even texted one of my buddies who follows the Gators very closely. I'm like, there's no argument for any other tight end over Kyle Pitts for best in program history, right? I mean, really, you could probably argue Hernandez probably held that title before this year. Ben Troop was a great tight end, but I'm telling you, Kyle Pitts, easily number 1 tight end in the history of the University of Florida coming out, and that's because we've never seen anything like him. He's a total freak.
Exactly. We're going to wrap the show up real quick. AJ, he said Jamar Johnson is a coverage guy that is not a great tackler. Damian Sherwood is a man guy that hardly missed tackles. Take your pick. I've been hearing a lot about Sherwood. Sherwood would be a good pick. Isaiah said he gets burnt way too much and he can't keep up with anyone. Isaiah Oliver gets exposed or beat.
That's why they're trying to move him to safety.
That's why he's moving to safety. Yeah, that's the person that's moved to safety. And I think you got to think about it. Hope is a guru when it comes to developing DBs. He's our DB coach. Let's see what we got with Isaiah Oliver and Kendall Sheffield before we throw them to the side.
Talk about getting rid of them. Yeah, I don't think, like I said, we got a whole new coaching staff. Like, let's see what we got with these new coaches. I understand we've seen them for 2-3 years now, and they haven't given us what we wanted. But like, give them a year with these new guys and see who coaches them. I just want to see like how the coaching changes it.
I thought he was more of a slot player. He played better in the slot. Isaiah.
Come on, nickel.
Yeah. I thought he was a better corner there than on the outside. At safety, we shall see. At least I know one thing. He'll be faster than the last safeties we had.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. So
no shade thrown, but it's a little cloudy in here.
Hey, it is what it is. You gotta call a spade a spade. Oh, hey, anything else anybody want to share out?
Oh, shout out to Kings round post game. Me and Tyrone will be doing tonight.
King is back, y'all. If y'all watch the show, King is back.
I will be back tonight. We currently winning.
Yeah.
Without JC, man, this is a shot for me.
Man, we better win, man. The Braves done took an L today, man. Oh my goodness.
That game. I feel like that was a blocking call. I still think that was a blocking with him. He was covering the plate. He tried to slide. He's sitting right there. So I don't know, but that was bad. That game was fun. I shout out Pablo Sandoval for being a pinch hitter and hitting the only runs we got today. So
wow. All right.
It's a throwback.
Ghost Peppers, he said, if we take picks, I believe we need to trade down at the top of the second round and pick up an extra third or at fifth or so, and then find a running back somewhere, but go straight defense afterwards. I agree with you on that. Yeah. I was thinking about that too. If we stay at 4, we got to find somewhere in day 2 to trade down and get some more picks. I know some people say, you got 9 picks. Well, look at the depth chart. We need more holes to fill, and we ain't got the money to fill in the free agency. So your cheapest way to do this is through the draft. All right. So appreciate you all for that, Ghost. Hey, one more time, man. Thank you for coming on, Nick. Man, once again, let everybody know who you are, where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm Nick Knudsen. I run a podcast called The American Football Stories. We have good guests on every week. Leading up to the draft here, man. We got a lot of draft coverage, so check out the American Football Stories. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts, so check us out. I do it with my co-host, Robert Parker. I have to get him on here with you guys one of these days, too, man.
Oh man, bring him on, man. We love talking football.
Maybe for the Florida-Georgia weekend, I'll get him. He's a Florida guy, too, so maybe I'll drag him on with me next time.
Okay, bet.
Georgia's not a good football team.
Oh, good.
Whoa. That's what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna start off like that. We got the only part about this year that I think Florida's gonna beat us is because we got 2 of our top receivers with torn ACL.
I'm ready to see what Brock Vandegrift got, man. That is gonna be good.
JT's gonna start. JT's gonna start this year. If JT does bad, Brock will start. But
Which
Brock
one?
has a lot. I have a lot of faith in Brock this year. If Brock starts, I have a lot of faith in Brock. But I think it's really I think JT's going to start. JT looked good the games he did play.
How many quarterbacks are transferring out by the end of October?
We ain't got Justin Fields. We ain't got Justin Fields, man. Justin Fields the only person that did that.
How many quarterbacks? Oh, Justin Fields the only one?
Yeah, we have
that other guy that played,
Easton.
But
we didn't really care about Easton.
Who was your starter on opening day last year too? Who was the starter? Where's he playing?
Look, we listen.
Oh, okay,
we got
it's cool. It's cool.
We got
October.
I'm a Michigan fan, so but we will talk Georgia, Florida football when rivalry.
Quarterbacks not transferring.
We will talk college football when rivalry returns in the fall.
Yes,
it's early April. I'm desperate for any college football talk right now.
Exactly. Appreciate you coming up.
Don't fumble the bag.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming on, man. Everybody who watched live, thank y'all for watching live. Thank y'all for the donations and everything. We appreciate that. If you're watching this at a later time, make sure you hit us up in the comment section. Let us know what you think about Kyle Pitts, or do you think the Falcons should draft anybody else that you want to mention in the comments. Let us know. Anything y'all need to y'all plug. Don't forget tonight Kings Realm will return tonight after the Hawks game, so make sure y'all tune into that. This Sunday we will be talking about. I ain't gonna give y'all the scoop. Just tune in Sunday. We got a special guest coming on. Y'all know him. He's well known around Atlanta. I'm not gonna spill the beans on that. If you're new to the channel, y'all already know what to do. Hit a subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with Atlanta Sports Fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. It's your boy.
To love yourself, people.
Exactly. It's your boy, the man name that should not be mentioned. I'm playing with y'all. It's my name is the Dunn. Put some respect on my name. Also, it's the greatest Dunn that ever lived. Don't forget it. I'm pretty sure your mama know it too.
Oh. Your mama. Not your mama.
Your mama and your wife. So put some respect on my name. They know who I'm talking about.
Your mama and your wife. I got you. I know it ain't my wife because I'll kill you.
I ain't talking about nobody that's on this live. I ain't talking to nobody. They know who I'm talking about. They always jocking me. So anyway, all right, it's your boy The Dunn with my co-host King and Tyrone. Hey, we out. Y'all have a great evening. Y'all stay safe. Make sure y'all enjoy life. We out.